Heyo! Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. And thanks just in general for being so patient with us over the last few weeks. It's been a bit of a whirlwind for us going through exam season. But I'm happy to report that I think we're all passing the semester. So unless, I get a really angry email in the coming moments here from a prof saying that I suck and that I will not be passing, I think I'm gonna be passing, and same with Hunter and Jake too. So good news all around. And I know what you're probably thinking. You're probably thinking right now, why is Lee sitting in front of a green screen, and are we going to be subject to random, unassociated images throughout this video because of it? No, absolutely not. I would never do that. I would hope that you know that I take this very seriously, as does Hunter, as does Jake, and, silly little gimmicks and games like having crazy images in the background. Not our style. Not our style here at Servant Sonic. So before we get back into the full swing of things here and get back to our regular scheduled programming with all three of us doing the show and all that, I wanted to give you guys a bite-sized breakdown of an album that I've been listening to nonstop since it's come out. It's been fully in the rotation, leading the rotation often for the past month. You could call it UK Garage. You could call it UK House. You could call it Deep House. You could go that far. But one thing is for certain. It's best described as dance! 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 So we've got Finn's latest offering entitled Everything Is All Right, which was released at the beginning of the month, April 8th. On his own label, To Be Real, out of Manchester, UK. And this follows a string of releases for Finn, which you can find on his Bandcamp and various streaming platforms. And the most recent of those releases being his collaboration with fellow UK DJ / producer India Jordan. But this album kind of operates as Finn's longest single title release for sure. So let's get into the music itself, since I left the genre a little bit ambiguous here to start this show. So according to Apple Music, Finn McCory, professionally known as Finn or DJ Finn, is a self-proclaimed fast music producer, which basically means he likes highly upbeat electronic and dance music. Finn also told Mixmag back in December that he listens to all sorts of dance music, and he even listens to what he calls happy hardcore when he does his, daily commute on the bus, which don't we all? And you can definitely hear all these different types of influences on the album as well. There's like ambient house in the track Forever Blue, for instance. There's some garage in the song Here You Are. And there's, little sprinklings of deep house all throughout this thing as well. So you can definitely get the music / house nerd out of him almost immediately on this record. It's an eclectic mix of electronic and dance scenes. And honestly, this is one of my favorite things about the record, is that you get this eclectic mix of dance and electronic scenes kind of all coming together on this record without it kind of sounding like it's just, ripping off these different sounds. And also to the opposite point of that, it's not, just siloing or just staying strictly in like a genre lane or two. It's just refreshing to hear, because that's not something that's done super, super well throughout dance music in general. Dance! Dance! So the production on this project definitely harkens back to some of those early UK and house days of, airy vocal samples chopped up, drum loops that are pretty basic and simplified, and synth chords, which is, the holy trinity. But it's not like an overly boring sort of thing. Like, he still finds ways to make subtle but significant changes to some of the progressions here to keep it interesting but never really lose the groove. One cool way that he does this is with his vocal sampling. So in some instances, he'll take a vocal sample and speed it up or slow it down or stretch it out to make it sound a little weird or offbeat or off kilter, and kind of bring that airiness out of it. Another example is in something that he does in Here You Are, where he takes a big vocal chop, cuts it all up, and makes a completely new message out of it. So it kind of sounds weird and almost robotic in a way, but it still has the soul of a real person singing it. This is particularly cool because something that's become more and more present in electronic music these days is having pop artists or musicians that are about to blow up feature on your track, and that can kind of propel both of you at the same time into this new stratosphere of stardom. The ultimate example of this is Sam Smith with Disclosure on Latch, but that's not what Finn is doing here. He's restraining and resisting that urge, which is cool, and it kind of, again, brings us back to the kind of Renaissance era of house music in general that used whatever was available, and in lots of cases that was acapellas that you would find on like B-sides of records, and just making weird little things out of them. As for the drum loops, I have a personal favorite, which he uses on the song All Right. That sample is Gaz's Sing Sing. It's that kind of clappy funk beat that comes in and out of the song. If you're wondering why that drum loop sounds so familiar to you, it's probably because you've heard the song Roll Burbank Funk, which is the internet's Steve Lacy-led banger that uses the exact same sample. So it's a heater. But even with just using samples of vocals and not vocalists themselves, Finn is still very much a champion of collaboration, which is a major thing in the dance community, is collaborating with others. In fact, when this album was starting to be created, the DJ world in the UK and everywhere really was finding themselves in a tough spot because most people were in the second or third lockdown for the pandemic, and DJs who use their DJing talents and skills as their primary source of income were fucking shit out of luck for getting money because you couldn't go anywhere. And this wasn't lost on our guy Finn here. As a DJ himself, obviously, he was feeling those struggles as well, and he wanted to do something to help the community and his fellow DJs out in the UK. So he came up with this website, which was supposed to be used to help distribute new mixes from DJs so that their fans could get access to these mixes, but also help pay DJs so they weren't just left giving free mixes out and not having any way to, make a living or make ends meet, which was a reality for a lot of people. So with help from his label Local Action, Finn launched the website mixtapeclub.net to help those DJs connect with their fans, and I've got a little excerpt here directly from that site telling you a little bit more about what it is. Mixtape Club is a new model to fund and create bespoke standalone mixtapes from DJs and producers. Cool. We commissioned 6 mixtapes between January and June 2021 by some of our favorite DJs, and we're going to commission 6 more between February and July 2022. Each act is paid 150 euros? Pounds. It's pounds there. Pounds to plan and record a dance music mixtape. However they please. There's no fixed format and there are no rules. Who needs them? Fuck rules. They're also given 150 pounds budget to create original artwork to accompany their mix in collaboration with a visual artist, blah, blah, blah. Well, we get it. All around good guy, right? He's just an all around good guy, but also that's just genuinely really, really cool. So what's next for this guy? What's next for this cool guy? Well, we know that he's obviously very talented. We know that he is working with a lot of cool artists and DJs. We know that he's a nerd of the genre and obviously knows his shit. And now he's kind of become this local hero for this philanthropic effort he's putting in to help others in the community. So what could come next is the question. Fuck if I know. But I do know I'm excited to find out whatever it is. So if we're going to use Disclosure again as kind of a case study of another UK group that really wore its love for old house acts directly on its sleeve, their breakout Settle was awesome. But the problem is they've struggled to find a specific identity since then. And whatever they had on Settle, the soul and the character of that hasn't fully come through on any of the projects that they've released since. And that's not to say that the projects aren't good necessarily. They obviously love the genre. They can hit a groove and they can find a club banger pretty much on any project that they put out. So they're still elite at these things that really make some of the greatest dance artists. But this sort of lack of focus is common for artists, and not just like dance artists. It's common for artists of any genre. But with dance music specifically, there is, this very close association with clubs and raves and having like a radio edit hit. And you can kind of see that lots of artists, after they have that breakthrough, have lost sight of maybe innovating and finding stuff to push their music forward, and instead are like a heat-seeking missile for those club hits and those club bangers, as opposed to building out projects that have maybe like a more fuller idea of the substance that they could have. But that's not something I'm particularly worried about with Finn. I don't think he's overly focused on trying to find that next club banger of his. Not that he's, incapable of doing that. I think he's quite capable, but because he's a student of the genre, he's more engaged with trying to find interesting alterations to some of the things he's doing and new paths where he could go and really flex some of those musical muscles. And interesting doesn't necessarily come out always in the chart-topping hits. They don't always go hand in hand, but interesting does usually age a whole lot better than maybe just club and radio and billboard seeking music making generally does. So quite honestly, I think we're looking at a potential future titan in this genre. I think, of course, like it doesn't just take one release to make someone great, but I do think he's on the path and has this like cool kind of trajectory that I'm seeing here that could really make him a household name in the dance communities. I'm going to be giving this one an 8.5 dance subgenres out of 10. As always, please like, subscribe, rate, review, share on whatever platform you're listening to this new episode on. It really, really helps us out to get the word out that we're doing this thing and build this community that we've started here. And if you want to hit us up on any of our socials, you can find us at Servin Sonic, no G on the Servin there. If you have any albums or artists you'd like us to review, we're always open to suggestions with that sort of stuff, and we love to do that. There will be more Servin Sonic coming soon, but until then, I hope that you stay safe, happy, healthy, but most importantly, groovy. To take us out, we've got Everything Is Alright, the title track off of the album by Finn. Peace.
I just can't do it anymore. You see, things are...
Everything's alright.